Okay, so welcome to this video of installing MDT 2012. Microsoft Connect just released MDT 2012 RC1 yesterday. I posted it up at my WordPress blog, bjtechnews.wordpress.com. Interesting stuff. You probably need to have a Microsoft Connect account to log in and download the stuff. As you can see here, I downloaded it last night. Comes with the release notes. It comes with two MSIs, one for 86, one for 64. Unfortunately, kind of anxious in testing this out, so I'm doing it on a Windows 7 platform, 64-bit. I recommend doing it more of a server platform, 2008, 64-bit R2. I also downloaded Wake 7. Wake 7 comes with, it's a large file, it's an ISO when you download it. Oh, sorry about that. It's IK. Most likely is the first link. That's the file right there, as you can see. Just the file right there. As you can see, it's around 1.7 gigs. Download it, takes a while. I already pre-downloaded it last night. It's an ISO file, so if you have a program that extracts the information out of the ISO, you can use whatever program you like. I like using Power ISO, and I extracted everything into a Wake folder. So these are all the stuff here. From my understanding, on the previous MDT 2010, you needed a database if you wanted to use the database features within the MDT environment. So I took it upon myself and installed Server 2008, SQL Server Manager. Again, it's fresh. I don't think I created any databases, so well, again, it's an Express. It's not the full Enterprise edition. I have no databases as of yet, so hopefully when I do install MDT 2010, give the configurations of that, and have an MDT database. So let's get started. I think the first thing that you need to do is get the server or database up and running. You gotta have Wake on the machine. So I'm gonna go inside the folder. I'm gonna start the CD. Step-by-step deployment. This is just release notes, blah blah blah. It's up to you if you want to read that. I read this before with the previous MD2 2008 and as well as 2010. Basically the same thing. We want mostly Windows AIK setup. Now, if you're missing anything else, most likely it would tell you, and you probably have to get the files. I think in my case, I probably have to get either the dot framework setup and as well as a MS-XML setup. So let's just click on it, see what happens. Basic setup. Click on X. If you want, all that privacy stuff, you never know what they enter in this stuff. You read it carefully, agree it. I'm just gonna agree it, I trust it. Pick a location. A lot of people will keep the default. In my case, I think I only have one. I have 2 hard drives, so I could switch it up and put it on the D drive, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna leave it on the default. Everyone, in case someone else logs in and wants to play around with this Windows AIK stuff, they can play around with it. Hit next. Hit next to start installing. This takes a while, so we're just waiting. Alright, so it's finished. Hopefully everything is successfully installed. We're going to exit out of this. I'm going to close this. I'm going to go to Start, All Programs. And if I'm lucky, you have a Microsoft Windows AIK folder. Got all the good stuff in it, hopefully. Got the Windows System Image Manager. Got this stuff here. You got the documentation. You got the SDK documentation. These are all the CHIM files. So that's good to go, I believe. We're going to install the MDK 2012 stuff. Let me double check what architectural platform this is. Make sure this is 64-bit. This is 64-bit. Close this out. It's an i7. So yeah, so we're gonna run this guy. Nice little window pops up. Close that folder up. Hit next. You want to agree to it. Again, if you want to read it, go right ahead, read it. Click next. This is the default. Again, if you want to change it, you could change it if you want. If it was more at my job, if I was doing it as my job, most likely I would keep it as the default, or I would change the directory to another partition. Probably I recommend do that different partition. Hit next, install.
Got this user account control, and I could change that, but I'm too lazy to do it, so I just hit yes for that. It's copying the new files. Once it copies the new files, I believe it's going to start the installation, and once it finishes with the installation, it's going to start removing the backup files. Click the finish stats, excellent, and hit finish. There we go.
That took a bit. Let's go to Start, All Programs, and let's look for the Microsoft Deployment Toolkit. Awesome. It looks like they added a UDI Wizard Designer, which is pretty awesome. Let's right click on that. Let's send that to the desktop. Want to check that out. Basic stuff. You got the configure manager integration, and then you got the deployment workbench. Deployment workbench is what we techies have used a lot. Some of the advanced techies have used the config manager integration. I've never used this in my life, so from my understanding, just with the way it's worded, I believe it helps you integrate your information into SCCM. So if you try that and know what that is, give me a heads up. Go to my blog, and tell me a little bit about it. That'd be cool. Always want to learn new things. So I put the deployment workbench and as well as the UDI Wizard Designer on my desktop, because these are two things that I'm kind of interested right now. As you know, the UDI Wizard Designer is brand new, something that they added with 2012, as well as many other features. So once you get the deployment stuff ready, you're going to double click on this. We need to hit yes again, because you just silly user account control. Again, I recommend doing this on a server platform. Nice little GUI. It tells you all the little nice information. I'm going to try to get rid of this action stuff. Action panel. If I remember how to do it. It's kind of early in the morning. Alright, so we're just going to leave it there. Mouse is acting up a little bit. Apologize for that. I'm going to click on this. There's no shares. No shares at all. So we want a new deployment. You can either go to Action and New Deployment, or right click New Deployment. By default, it always goes to C Deployment Share. In this case, for this tutorial or this video, I'm going to do it on the D share. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, Photo browse. Mouse is acting up, so I do apologize. Go to my D, create a new folder, paste that name, hit OK, D. Want to hit next. That's going to be your UMC path or your network share, whatever your name of your server is going to be, and deployment share $. Again, you know, $. Is just going to hide the share for you. Hit next. The name of the deployment share that you want. You can be creative on this. I sometimes, depending for a job, if I'm working for a particular company or I'm consulting something that I have to do deployment or install MDT, I'd most likely call the share description as, you know, the name of the job, deployment share. I'm gonna leave it as is. Hit next. Now this is the cool thing. This is the new thing I believe that's on MD2 2012. These options. With performing deployment, the behavior of the deployment wizard can be customized by turning various wizard panes on and off. For those that are not desired, modify the defaults below as appropriate. So they got, by default, active for computer backup should be performed. In my case, no. Ask for a product key, no, because most likely you're going inside the unintended file and adding the product key. Ask to set a local administrative password, again, no, because I believe when you're importing the WIN file, they're going to ask for the administrative password. I think these options are for when you get the wizard and you want these prompts. These are customizing the stuff from the custom setting .ini file. Active the image should be captured, no. Active BitLocker should be enabled, no. So I basically want all this stuff skipped. I'm gonna double check the custom ini file and see if it actually has yes to skip everything. So I'm gonna hit next. Brief summary of everything that's happened. Hit next. It's doing its thing. Okay, so best thing I like about this right here, everything in the background, MDT is run with PowerShell, as you can see. Best practice for me is I like to save these PowerShell scripts. And it's always good to save the PowerShell scripts because then, you know, if you need to do something short and quick, you can do it PowerShell, you know. So I like to save it for bad practices. It's up to you. Hit finish. Take some time. It's quick. Here goes your share. A lot of people like to create 2 deployment shares, one for production and one for testing. I normally do everything in production. I know it's not best practice, you know, assuming. But sometimes when it comes to the task sequence, I create a lot of task sequence. I create about 2 production task sequences, one for 86 one for the 86 and one for 64-bit. And then I create a capture task sequence, and then I also create a IT testing task sequence. The IT testing sequence is basically when I start inserting all kinds of nonsense into it, and I just want to test it out. Then I push it out. The difference between having 2 deployment shares is that you can start playing around with the custom setting ini file, and you don't have to touch the production. So if you mess up your production totally. And I've done that in the past, that I had to recreate my whole entire deployment share, and it was a pain in the butt. That's why you gotta back up. So very the same, you know, it's the same thing. You have your application node, you know, same thing as always. I think the only thing that I see new with 2012 is the monitoring node, which is pretty awesome. No monitoring data is available because monitoring is not enabled for the deployment share. So that's interesting. Let's right click on this, go to properties. I like to enable this again if you're on a Windows server platform and you're using WDS for Pixie booting. I recommend using this. This is pretty cool. If you're deploying several machines at the same time, you know, for my case, I normally have to do that when I have a shipment of like 5 to 10 machines that I have to re-image right away. You know, I put all of them in a network on a switch, and I just push this baby out, multicast it, see everything. Bam, it's done. Let's check the rules. Again, yeah, those option questions, I don't remember it on 2010, so I don't know if it's new or not for 2012, so I do apologize if I was wrong on that one, but I don't really remember those questions at all. Yes, it hit yes on all this. That's pretty good. Again, more customization. It's probably the same thing as you could do in 2010. Again, in my blog, I have a lot of information on 2010 on customizing the custom settings.ini file. So it's basically the same concept. I think one of the things that I read on the Microsoft Connect description on the 2012 was the fact that they integrated Dart. So that's pretty cool. Dart allows you, I think it's, let's see what Dart stands for. Let's go to our trusty IT helper. So Dart stands for Microsoft Diagnostics Recovery Tool Set. I can actually built a WIM image out of it, and I actually have it running on my production side for 2010. But in 2012, it comes integrated. It's pretty cool because it has tools for emergency repair, ERD command, crash analyzer, system restore. If your company is actually doing system restores, a lot of companies actually disable that. Don't know why, but it saved my butt a couple of times, so it's good to have it. It allows you to go into registry and modify the registry keys, so it's a cool tool, and I'm kind of happy that Microsoft actually integrated with 2012. You got the advanced, as you can see, same old. You got the database stuff, so that's cool. Kind of excited. Another day. Again, it's the same old. So I'm kind of excited. I think on the next video I'll probably have some more stuff, fix the database stuff, and play around with the monitoring thing. Again, this is done on the Windows 7 platform. Don't really recommend it. So hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks.